Mel, firstly, and the international break, which seems to have gone on forever. I mean, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for you.
Yeah, it certainly feels long when you haven't played for 2 weeks. I think the first weekend was scheduled as a postponement weekend for anyone to catch up, but no teams really caught up, so I'm not really sure what the point of the weekend was. But yeah, we've used it as a bit of a chance to kind of reset and, you know, rest up and try and get people back on the pitch. And obviously the international players have been away. They're all reporting back today, so we'll see how they are.
See, Katie Kitchen's coming from Colombia, so I mean, it certainly has been an international break for some.
Yeah, obviously delighted for her. You know, we signed her from London City, where New Zealand knew she was at, but you know, she didn't get much game time, so never really got the call up. So, you know, from a personal point of view for her, you know, delighted to see her get called up, and a huge reward for her performances that she's done for us. She's been a great signing. She made a big impact, and you know, it's probably the cherry on the cake for her to go and represent New Zealand in Colombia. I
mean, and there's been plenty of involvement with others, Mary and so on. They've all been getting games. It's good for you, isn't it? I mean, it's good for your profile.
Yeah, you know, Mary's such a young player as well, 19-year-old, you know, playing just being in and around a senior environment at international level. She'll be learning all the time, and hopefully she can use that experience when she comes back and represents, you know, Sunderland. And
in terms of the league, you're joint top. You've had that great momentum, the Charlton game, and now it's sort of, as you say, you've had this sort of break. Momentum, I mean, we always talk about it in football. Has it broken that momentum, or would you rather it sort of kept going?
It's probably broken it, but it's broken it for everyone. So I think it's a level playing field again, and it's up to us to try and get that momentum back quickly. You know, we've got a 3-game week, and you know, the third game almost is the most important one in terms of the league. But you know, we're certainly taking the FA Cup seriously as well.
I mean, the FA Cup and Derby, Durham, Cestria, they pushed Newcastle all the way last season in their league. So that, you know, there's that aspect to it, but it's the FA Cup. I mean, I don't know what your memories of the FA Cup are as a player.
I remember missing a penalty for Sunderland against Tranmere in the 5th round. It's probably still going now. It went right over the bar. But yeah, it's a great competition, and you know, it's a competition that we want to go far in. There's a huge financial reward with the prize money now that's at stake. So, you know, like every other game, we'll prepare ultimately and do our due diligence on the opposition, and you know, we'll put a strong team out there that we think can go and win the game and get in the hat for the next round.
I think for both men's and the women's team, Sunderland, the cup resonates, doesn't it? It's got there's a tradition and a history with the club, so it's an important competition.
Yeah, and we had a good run last year. You know, we had Man United come to Ebbleton, and you know, we give them a real good game in front of a huge sellout crowd. So you know, we need to take it one game at a time, but you know, the big teams come in the next round, so we'll see what happens.
It's one of those weekends, and looking at the weather forecast, it could be one of the gritty, determined, wet, muddy jumpers for goalposts.
Yeah, well, we need to make sure it's on first, but I think as long as the temperatures don't drop, I think it's got a good chance. The pitch is a good drainer, so you know, we'll do as much as we can to get the game on, because we want to play.
And have you taken stock of the first half of the season, because that's what it was really, and still looking back at it and thinking, has that really just happened? Are we really where we are? Bearing in mind, I think pre-season and going into this season, nobody expected it to be there.
Yeah, we've had a good chance to reflect as staff, give the analyst a little bit of a task to come up with a presentation to deliver to the players about what we've done well and what we need to be better at. Loads of stats, loads of data. And again, it kind of backs up what we're doing on the grass as well. So yeah, we've had a good chance. We know exactly what we've done. We're halfway, and if we want to be up there come the end of April, then we know exactly what we need to do. So like you say, it's about consistency, but the players are well aware of where we need to improve in order to stay up there.
So it's a slightly strange dynamic now with Durham and Cestria. Are they a team that you know a lot about just through sort of being in the northeast football bubble? Is the preparation being relatively straightforward?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. You know, we've got footage. We've talked to other opponents that they've played. So we've got our information, and you know, we don't take anyone lightly. Yeah, the 2 divisions below, but I'm sure they'll come on Sunday and make it really difficult for us. So we have to be at our best and start really quickly to get good momentum in the game.
You mentioned the financial reward of this tie, it's obviously changed significantly this year. Does that add a layer of pressure to the game? Is it your job to try and keep that away from the players? Because I mean, it's an obvious incentive, isn't it, for you going forward in the club as well?
Yeah, I think the players are joking that all the money we win, we're going to go on a nice summer holiday. But I don't think that's what the club will have in mind. But I don't think that's an added pressure for the players. I don't think it's something that they're really thinking about. But as a club, we want to do well because hopefully that money can be reinvested back into the women's domain.
You mentioned about the schedule. You've got big break, 3-game week.
Yeah.
And then another break. I mean, it doesn't seem quite right. It pans out that way. It seems to really, I don't know if there's a better word than wrong, but it seems like something challenging for you.
Yeah, I don't mind the international breaks because that's part of football, but the weekend before that, I'm not sure why there was a break in the calendar and no one's playing. And it's hard to keep, the fans want to come to games every week, and when you're trying to grow the audience, having that 2-week gap probably doesn't help anyone. So yeah, unfortunately that's nothing that we can control, so we've just got to get on with it and look forward to the next 3 games.
You mentioned about sort of having a chance to take stock. Has it given you a chance to think about January? I know you're always thinking ahead, but you talked about wanting to maintain the momentum of what you've done so far. Is that something that's now very much coming under your radar?
Yeah, I've got a Christmas wish list, but we'll see what Santa's like and see if he's kind, see if I'm on the nice list. But yeah, I'm always looking to add to the squad as well, just to give a little bit of boost going into the second half of the season as well. But the players will look after themselves over the Christmas period, and I think we start again in the next round of the cup if we're successful on Sunday. So I'm sure the fixtures will come quick and fast after the Christmas break.
And obviously with this game and the home game with Birmingham next weekend, is obviously a push from the club to make it more accessible with prices and stuff. It's a good chance before Christmas if people are wondering a chance to come down and see the team next couple of weekends.
Yeah, I think the ticket prices have been chopped and they're very reasonable. I think the weather doesn't help when it's freezing cold, so hopefully the drop in the ticket price will encourage people to come out and have a look, and they won't be disappointed when they see the quality that's on show.
Very much. Just one from me, but I was just going to say, we know in the men's game managers are always complaining about cup competitions and too many games, and we know that particularly the FA Cup gets deprioritised, but how important is it, in your game to your team? Do you find that it's much more important, particularly with the increased prize money this year?
Yeah, I think the FA Cup's like a fantastic competition, and it doesn't ruin our fixture schedule almost. It's scheduled in on them Sundays when there is no league fixtures, so it's not crammed in between league fixtures, if that makes sense. Whereas the Conti Cups sometimes gets in the way of what you're trying to achieve in the league, but I think as the game grows, that maybe again could be an area where there's more financial value in the League Cup as well for teams maybe to take it more seriously maybe.